Okay, good morning, everybody. As we go to the chitas of the day, today is today's Monday, the second reading of the portion of Vayera, and we are holding in the book of Genesis, chapter 18, verse number 15. Vatikach Sarah Lamer. And Sarah denied. I did not laugh. She was afraid. And God said, that's not true. You actually did laugh. Rashi says the first serves as expression because, and it gives the reason. And Sarah denied it because she was afraid. She was afraid. She was afraid to challenge God. And Sarah denied because she was afraid. The second key serves the expression but. And he said, but, and it's not that he said, but you did laugh. For the sages say key is 4 different meanings. If, perhaps, but, and because. So in general, you find the word key, it can have 4 different meanings. One word can have 4 different meanings. It depends what's going on in the verse. And if you know what's going on in the verse, you will have understanding to the word key. So in the same verse, key, you have 2 keys in this verse, and each key means something else. The first key is because, and the second key is but. Like the people got up, the angels got up. And they looked upon this upon the city of Sdom. Avram escorted them to escort them out. So that's called hashkafa. Occurs in the script. Wherever you find the word hashkifa, it denotes evil. Except when it says later in Deuteronomy, hashkifa mimen kachecha. When we ask God to look for your holy dwelling and bless the Jewish nation, for the power of gifts to the poor is so great that it converts the divine attribute of mercy, wrath to mercy. Over there, the pasuk is saying that I've given charity, and after I've given charity, it says hashkifa, God should look. So over there, in general, the word hashkifa is a negative, but over here, since I've given charity, the hashkifa turns from a negative into a positive. The shalcham, to escort them. That's one of the mitzvahs. You have to achila, shtia, velivia, you to give your guests food, and then it's a mitzvah to escort them out, not to just tell them to leave, but escort them at least to the door. Because he still thought that they were wayfare, they were guests. Verse 17 of Hashem and God said, am I going to hide from Abraham which I am doing? Rashi says a bit in a question. Which I am doing in Sdom. It will be improper for me to do this thing without his knowledge. I gave him the land, and these 5 cities are his. As it says in the border of Canaanite is Sidon. As he comes to Sdom and Gomorrah, I called Avram, the father of the multitude nations. Now, how can I destroy the sons without informing the father who loves me? So I have to tell Abraham what I'm going to do. God and Abraham will be a great and powerful nation. They're going to bless. There'll be the nations of the world will be blessed in Abraham. So how can I not tell him what's going on? So Abraham will become, according to the Medrash, the mention of righteous man is for a blessing. Since he mentioned him, he blessed him. Simple meaning, however, shall I conceal from him? He is so dear to me, as he become a great nation, and through him will be blessed the nations of the earth. How is it possible that I'm not going to tell him? Verse 19. Why did I choose him? Because I know him, because he commands his sons and his household after him, that they'll keep the way of the Lord, to perform righteousness and justice. Manhavi Hashem al Avram, because God will bring on Abraham as kol asher dibarav, everything he has spoken about him. So Rashi says Yadaiti is the expression of love, and we find that it's brought down Ruth, for example, Madai, her husband, and now Boaz and his kings Madanu. They knew each other and understood each other. So no adacha b'neim. In fact, the primary meaning of them is all in a noun, none other than the expression of knowing. For if you love a person, he draws him near to himself to know him and to be familiar with him. Now, why do I love him? Because he commands, for he commands his sons concerning me to keep my ways. So God says, I chose Abraham because I know it's not all about him. He can see the future. He realizes the importance of education. He realizes the importance of teaching his kids what he knows. But if you explain it in the Targum Rams, I know about him that he will command his sons. The word Laman does not fit in the sense of this verse. Itzava Lashon Heva. Itzava is a present tense. It's like an habitual action. He knows this is what he does. Abraham, this is what he does. He teaches his kids. Vayem Hashem, and God says, Zakas doiva moriki dabo. The sin, the cry of Sodom and Gomorrah is great. Atosam ki chav demoid, and their sins is very grave. So God said to Abraham, he says, he did as he said, that he would not conceal it from him. Ki rabba, whenever the verse says rabba, the accent is on the last syllable, on the beth, rabba, because they are translated as great or becoming great. Verse 21, I'll descend now and see whether according to her cry, which has come to me, they have done. I will wreak destruction upon them, and if not, I will know. So why does it tell us this? That God has to go down, but he doesn't know what's going on. But over here, God shows a judge. This teaches a judge that they should not decide capital punishment unless they see. They must go to the site of the crime and investigate the matter. Everything is as I explained in the chapter dealing with dispersion. Another explanation, I will descend to the end of their deeds. I'm going to fathom the results, therefore. The cry of the land. And if they remain in their state of rebellion, I'll wreak destruction upon them. But if they do not remain in the state of rebellion, I will know what to do, to punish them with suffering, but I will not destroy them. Similarly, we find in Exodus, but now leave off your ornaments from yourself, so I may know what to do. Therefore, the poor is marked by the cantillation, the sign of psik. So, in order to separate one word from the other word, I would say, however, interpret hakitza refers to a cry of a certain girl. Hatzeka'asa is her cry. There's a story that's told that this girl, whom they killed in an unusual death, because she gave money to a poor man. So they took this girl, because she gave some food to a poor man, they took this girl, the Medrash says, and they covered her in honey. Terrible, terrible story. And she cried in great pain. She was being bitten by these bees and wasps. And her cry came before God. So that's the word, one word, hak'etzakasa. Her cry. And the people went, the angels left and they came to Sdom, and they went to Sdom. Avram and Avram is still standing. Rashi says from the place where Avram had escorted them, Avram but it's not, but it's not so, because he did not go to stand before him. But he, the one who blessed, came to him and said to him, "What do you mean that?" The verse doesn't. This verse doesn't make any sense, because he already said that God came to him, not he went to God. So he came to him and said to him, because the cry is Demigwara is so great, and it should be written. It's written here, and the Lord was still standing before Abram. I think it's April. This is a biblical amendment. This is a scribal emendation. So God, Abraham, when Abraham heard that God told him this, so he understood that God was telling him a reason why he was telling it to him. So he rightly realized that God was telling him that he should be able to stand up and argue for mercy. So he said to God, "You're going to destroy the righteous and the wicked." So Vayigash, so Rashi says the word Vayigash and approach. When he approached, God was everywhere. He's right there. So what it means, he approached. So we find that Rashi says the expression of approaching for war. So we also find that approaching for war, approaching to pray. So over here, it's the same thing. It's a Vayigash, doesn't mean that the God was right there, but it means that he got involved. Vayigash, he got involved to argue with God, so to say. Half will you destroy? And according to the translation of Unkers, who renders af, expression of wrath, this is its interpretation. Will wrath entice you that you should destroy the righteous and the wicked? Why would you do that? Why do the righteous need to suffer because of the wicked? There's 50 righteous people in the city of Sdom, in the city. Will you destroy the city and you will not save the place because of those 50 righteous people? That's it. So there was 5 cities. So he said 10 tzaddikim for each and every city. It is far from you from doing such an action. To kill the righteous with the wicked. The righteous will be like the wicked. It's profane for you. The one who judges the entire world. He himself will not do justice. This is rough. And if you say that the righteous will not save the wicked, why should you kill the righteous? It's profane. It's unfitting for you. They will say he has a craft. He inundates everyone, righteous and wicked. So you did in the generation of the flood, and you did in the generation of dispersion. It's profane to you. Neither this, anything similar to it. For the world to come. The hey over here, hashef is vow, is a chot of pat, expression of wonder. Will he who judges not perform justice? So, verse 26, he says, okay, if I find 50 righteous men in the city, I will save the city. So that's just Daim referring to all the cities, because Daim was the metropolitan and most important of them all. So Abraham said to him, behold, now I have commenced to speak to the Lord. And I am dust and ashes. What does that mean? That says I was already fit to be dust in the hands of the kings and ashes in the hands of Nimrod, were it not for your mercies that stood by me. So really, I'm dust and ashes. Let's say there'll be less than 50, less than 5. Hatashis b'chamisha, let's say be 45. He said, okay, if I find 45, so we'll take one person out of each city. Because then you'll have 9 for each city. And you're the righteous man of the world. Abraham, I'll be 1 for each city. So let's say we'll take off 10. So there'll be only 40. He said, I will not do for the sake of 40. Well, how you have 40? So that says let's say 4 of them. We'll get 40. So we'll say 4 cities. And there'll be 3 and 30. We'll save 33 cities. And it'll be 20. We'll save 2 cities. And if there's 10, we'll save 1 city. So that was his calculation. That's what he said for 30. I won't do it for 30. Behold, I desire to speak before God. That happens you find 20. So he said, I'll save it. Verse 32. What happens if you find 10? I will not destroy because of the 10. And he stopped. So Rashi says, why did he ask for less? He said to himself that the Deira Mabel, the people of the flood, there were 8. Noach, his wife, 3 sons, and their wives is 8. So Noach Baruch name they would not say the generation, it was 8. Baltisha they tzirov karbikesh leimatza, and with 9 and counting God, he already asked, he did not find. So he decided that 10 would be the last number. Hashem, and God went. When he finished speaking, and Abraham went back home. Since the defender was silent, Avram, the defender, was silent, the judge left. The judge left, the defender left, the prosecutor is accusing. Therefore, the 2 angels came to destroy it. One to destroy Sodom and one to save light. And he, the latter one, in the same one who came to heal Abraham. The third one who came to announce the birth of Sarah, of Isaac, since he had performed his mission, he went back up to heaven. And that's why from the 3, it went down to 2. And that completes the Chumash of the day. We now go to the Tanya of the day, which we start the 27th letter of the Tanya. Very famous letter of the Alter Rebbe. This is the Alter Rebbe wrote this letter in condolences to the Hasidim in 1788 on the passing of his colleague and mentor, Rav Mendel Vitebsk, Rav Mendel Haradok. And Rav Mendel Haradok he settled in the Holy Land in 1777. He's actually buried in Tveria, not far from Ameya Balanes. And he was one of the greatest tzaddikim in that time. And when he passed away in Israel, it was a great, great tragedy for all those that were close to him, Mendel Haradok, which the Alter Rebbe also was very close to. So Masha Kosel Yeshe Eretz HaKodesh, this letter was written by the Alter Rebbe to the Hasidim, because Mendel Haradok, when he went up to Israel, he took up a group of people, and the Alter Rebbe, a group of Hasidim with him, they settled in Israel. And the Alter Rebbe, as we read all the letters before, was supporting them. And then he passed away, the leader in Israel. It was a very tragic time. It was very sad. So Al the Rebbe wrote them a letter, to the inhabitants of the Holy Land. May it speedily be rebuilt and reestablished in our own days. Amen. To console them with redoubled support. The passing of the celebrated rabbi and Goin, genius, holy man of God, Nei Yisrael, the lamp of Israel, Amudi Amini Patash Chazar, the pillar of light, pillar of the right hand, mighty hammer. Reino Rabbeinu, our mentor, Rab Nachum Mendel, I was named Rab Mendel Haradok, Shmasi Aiden of blessed memory. Oivai Achai Vereyai, my beloved, my brethren, my friends, Asher Kenafshi, who are as dear and so forth to me as my own soul. Hashem Alayim Yichyu, may the name of God be upon you, Chayim, Ad Olam, may you live forever. B'tzetzeim itam zera emes, and your children with you, the seed of truth. Baruch Hashem heimamatav adelam, may you be blessed by God forevermore. Achadisha shleimam, having first duly acquired the welfare of those, Kamishpat Evel Shmai, of the welfare of those who love God's name. Basil Daber, I come to speak, Elev Nidachem, to a heart of the smitten, broken-hearted, and Anochim and Anokim, who are sighing and groaning over the passing of this great man, Mendel Hadrak. Well, Anachlam, and I want to console you, B'kaflayim L'Tashiyah, with a redoubled support. Asher Shamai Oznai V'Tavan, in which my ear has heard from others, and with that I have understood myself. Regarding the statement of the sages of blessed memory, the Shava Chayim L'Chol Chay, the passing of a tzaddik, he has left life for all the living. When a tzaddik dies, he actually gives more life to the living. Why? Tzaddik be'emunasa yichya. But a tzaddik lives with his faith. That's the life of a tzaddik, faith. Ubeyiras Hashem l'chaim, and by the awe of God, which leads to life. Uberish shleish avas mechai, and by the flashing of the fiery spark of his love for God, that is even greater than life. That's the life of a tzaddik. Lehachol bahen chay yeruchay. Investing in them, in his faith and his awe and love, the life of his ruach, and moreover his neshama, throughout his life. That was his life, filled every part of his soul with the love of God and the fear of God. And when at the time of his passing, God elevated his ruach, his spirit. Nishmasei of Yasuf, and gathered his soul to himself. He ascended, his soul ascended from one elevation to the next, to the very highest level. He then leaves over the life of a spirit. What is the life of a tzaddik? A spirit. What is the spirit of a tzaddik? The deeds in which he formerly labored with the people, with the Israel, meaning the faith, fear, and love which he drew down to them from his spirit. That's the life of a tzaddik. What he showed his students, and what means to have avas Hashem, and what means to love God, and what means to fear God. Fullest tzaddik l'chaim, the labor of a tzaddik for life. So, or less literally, a tzaddik's labor for living, to provide them with life. At any rate, at the time of his passing, The tzaddik bequeaths the fruits of his lifelong labors, l'chol chai, for every living being, in nefesh kol chai, to the soul of every living being who lives a life of Torah and mitzvahs. Hakshuda benafshe, who is bound to his soul, his chasidim, his followers, who are bound to the soul of the tzaddik. The chevle avos aves, they were bound with a thick rope of magmis love, great love, avad abba, avas olam, baltima the netzach, that will never move, never be moved. This bond between the tzaddik and the people that he connected with, that bond will never be broken. For any man who eagers the desire of life, who seeks to cleave to the living God, through his service, the divine service of a tzaddik, his soul will cleave. And then we bond with the bond of life with God through the avodah, through the service of the tzaddik. With the ruach, literally the life-giving breath of his nostrils, in which we have said, in this protective shadow, we shall live amongst the nations. So either the shadow of God or the shadow of this spirit of the tzaddik. So this alludes to the chaya of the tzaddik, the soul level, which is even loftier than the soul level of the neshama, which infuses the followers of the tzaddik, which are transcending mode life force, which enables them to withstand challenges of non-Jewish, which means not Jewish, but unholy sources. So we, Al-Qareb is talking to the Chassidim, the Jews of Chassidim of the Mendel Hadar, and he says you're connected to such a power that not only did you connect to the ruach of the tzaddik, you connected to the chaya, to the life force of the tzaddik. And that he's given to you. He left unto us in each and every individual, corresponding to the degree of his genuine bond with the tzaddik. Each person, how did he bond with the tzaddik? And it's true and pure love of him from the innermost core of man, in the depths of his heart. So to the extent each individual bonds to the tzaddik, so does the tzaddik share with him his ruach and his faith, fear, and love of God. For as the water faces and answers to face the heart, so is the heart of man to man. The individual love for a tzaddik reflects back to him, eliciting a love of the tzaddik for him. And the spirit arouses spirit and brings forth spirit. The spirit of love that one has for the tzaddik draws down the ruach, the spirit, the superior spirit of the tzaddik to the person. The ruchai and his spirit, a medis b'kirbeinu mamash, remains truly in our midst, mamash, within those of us who are bound to him. For he sees his children. And who is the tzaddik's children? His disciples, who embody the work of his hands, sanctifying God's name. Ashi is gadol v'yiskadesh kashanela b'derech yishara sharana b'derachim. For his name, God's name, is magnified and sanctified when we walk in the straight path, in one of his paths, the tzaddik's path, as he has shown us. And we will walk in the tzaddik's ways forever. This is not over yet. We're going to continue tomorrow this powerful letter, 27th letter of the Alter Rebbe, which we need to live with, to continue to connect to the tzaddik of our generation, even after passing of a tzaddik. And that completes the Tanya of the day. Today is the 12th day of the month, which starts on in the Tilim. It's chapter 66, 67, 68, and that's it. So 66 to 68. And
thank you, Rabbi.
Done the Tilim of the day. I wish you all a wonderful and beautiful day, a very happy day, a very healthy day. And Midshem, we'll see you tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock, and we'll continue the Chitas of the day. Have a wonderful day.